Hi there. In this video we're going to look at using transparent consulting questions for another couple of the red flag conditions, pyelonephritis and an upper GI bleed. Just to clarify, a red flag condition would be any more serious condition that hasn't come up so far in the consultation. You've asked open questions, clarified some symptoms, asked some health understanding questions. They haven't come up and you feel you need to rule them out with some closed questions. So there aren't an unlimited number of these, so it's something you could practice the majority of red flag conditions that you're likely to see. So for example, more serious infections, cancers, MS or stroke conditions, GI bleeds, and cauda equina is another classic one. So everyone has their own way of describing things, the sorts of words they use. So it's best for everyone to come up with their own way of doing it, the way they feel most comfortable. This is just to give you some pointers about how you might do it. So starting with pyelonephritis, person's presenting with simple UTI, no pyelonephritis symptoms have come up, and traditionally what would happen is you would ask, have you had a fever? Wait for reply. Have you felt ill in yourself at all, like nausea? Wait for an answer. Have you had any pain in the back? And wait for an answer. Now, it doesn't further the patient's health understanding doing this. It probably takes longer, and especially will take longer if you then get an irrelevant answer. For example, about the person's chronic back pain. They don't know why you've asked the back pain question, so they're going to tell you something about back pain. So an example of transparent consulting way of asking this question would be, it sounds like I agree with what you've said so far. Sounds like you've got an infection in the bladder. Now, it is possible for the infection in the bladder to pass up into the kidney. If that happens, it tends to be a more severe infection. The person might feel very ill in themselves, feel sick, have a fever, and they might have a pain in the loin area where the kidney sits. Have you had anything like that in the last couple of days? Then when you get to the safety net section, you can just say, and remember those symptoms of the kidney infection, the fever, feeling more ill, pain in the loin area. If you get anything like that, anytime you must contact or whatever you want the safety net to be. That compares to if you hadn't been transparent when you were asking the question, you're going to either explain about pyelonephritis for the first time. If you're going to do that, you might as well have done it at the start, and then the person's understanding is much greater throughout the consultation journey rather than being right at the end. Or you choose not to mention pyelonephritis and just mention some random symptoms. And my suspicion is always that if you're just saying random symptoms, it's likely the person is not going to remember those or won't remember them as well, that's for sure. The other one we're going to look at upper GI bleed. So in this example, you could say if a person has problems with their stomach acid problems, you could have a bleed, and when that happens, you could vomit blood, or the blood, when it's digested through the system, will come out in the stool as black, sort of sticky stools. Have you had either of those in the last few days? And that makes much more sense than, usually a person would have told you if they vomited blood, but it's good just to check. And saying, have you had any black sticky stools, or have you had any change in your bowel motions in the last few days, isn't very specific. It might lead to relevant answers, or they may have had something different. They don't understand the importance of the question and therefore don't give the answer. By explaining why you're asking the question, how it comes about, then they're more likely to realise, that was an important thing that happened to me. Okay, I hope that makes sense, and yeah, try it out. Like I said in the last video, try these things out loud when you're on your own, you're in the car on the way home. Try them out loud, because they're the best way of really trying to work out how you can say these things, and then you're more likely to be able to do it in a real consultation. Thanks.